Hello, my name is Geogen and welcome to World of Warships. We're going to be looking at the St. Louis class today, which is a Tier 3 American cruiser, and is my favourite cruiser, which sits at Tier 3, compared to the Tenru class, which is the Japanese cruiser. I'll be highlighting why I like this cruiser more than the Tenru. Now, the St. Louis is a slow ship, and it only goes at 22 knots, I believe. Let me just check that. It goes at 22.4 knots, correct. The guns on the ship are very good, and there's plenty of them. There's 14 152mm, meaning you can fire 8 at any one time. If you're doing a full broadside like this, you can fire these two, this one, these two. So that's 6 plus the one at the front and the one at the back. So 8 at any one time. You also have 76mm secondaries located here, here, and here. So this ship is much more armoured and armed compared to the Tenru class. Let's take a quick look at the Tenru just to confirm this comparison. Let's see, Japan. Tenru class. Now the Tenru is much faster, it goes at 33 knots. But there are far less weapons. There's 140mm guns, 2 at the front here, and 2 to the rear. It does have torpedoes mounted in the midship, but compared to the main armament of the St. Louis, it's nothing special, these guns. The fact that it has torpedoes, though, means you can sink ships very quickly if you are competent with them. However, I'm not very good with torpedoes, and I've come to the conclusion this Tenru is basically an enlarged destroyer, and therefore its tactics are different to that of the St. Louis. Back to the St. Louis. The fact that the ship is heavily armed, slow, and heavily armoured means you can take a lot more hits compared to that of other vehicles, other ships. And if you angle the armour, so say a ship is coming, your ship is heading towards the camera, say, and an enemy ship is firing at you at this angle, a lot of the shots will bounce if they are armour piercing, if it's from comparable Tier 3 ships, or Tier 2. However, high explosive will set this thing on fire, like all ships, of course. And that can be a huge problem because you're quite slow. Your health points, or health pool, is quite high though. 30,000, almost 30,000. And at Tier 3 that's quite high. It's not as high as battleships, of course. If we look at the South Carolina, in its fully upgraded format. Well, that's interesting. You have more health than a South Carolina, which is a Tier 3 battleship. Very strange. I thought that would have more health than you. Anyway, so it turns out you have more health by only 500 compared to the South Carolina. What else do you need to know about the St. Louis? It'll be detected from a surface range of 11 kilometers, which means as soon as you're detected, you will be fired at, basically. And from 11 kilometers, you can't really evade enemy fire as well as other ships, because you're very slow in comparison. Additionally, AA at this tier is completely useless. You have 8 7mm machine guns, 4 of which are to the front on this main pagoda type thing, and then you also have 4 at the back here. So don't rely on AA, especially because these machine guns only have a 0.9 kilometer range. So torpedoes, for instance, will be dropped from about a 3 kilometer range, and they will strike you no problem. You will not be able to defend yourself from aircraft. Let's take a look at a replay I had.
Battle starts.
Okay, so we are in the replay now. Now, as a disclaimer, the replays currently in patch 0.40 are not exactly user-friendly compared to that of World of Tanks. You can see that the aiming of the weapons there is kind of not in the right place. But this is because I'm in a third-person view. If I went into the normal view that I saw in the game at the time, it would glitch very badly and it wouldn't make any good footage. So I have to remain in third person. Anyhow, we're on the map Big Race, and there are 3 battleships on our team, 2 on their team, a host of cruisers, and many destroyers on their team. Now, the word destroyer is going to be of critical importance later on in this battle. Anyhow, considering we're quite a slow vessel, we have to head, well, we don't have to head, but I decide to head towards these islands here. Now, thinking about this in hindsight, this was probably not a good decision, because this area of the map in the, let's see, E4, F4, G4, EF and G5 area, those sort of 6 quadrants, they're full of islands. The destroyers are very maneuverable, like these 2 in front of me here, compared to that of myself in the cruiser or the battleships. We've been detected. They've changed the crew skills around so you can get the equivalent of 6 cents much earlier on. We take some shots at the lit up destroyer, but we're not sure if we actually scored any hits. We're taking some return fire from another subtleties. Or rather, he's firing at the Chester in front of us. The destroyer's lit up again. But we don't see him, and we take some shots at St. Louis again. Torpedoes are in the water. I have to avoid these. They will sink me very quickly. We managed to avoid them. Very close, however. Now we are turning to get the full broadside. And I'm doing sustained fire rather than a full salvo. We set the enemy on fire. Now the replay does tell you when you hit something. That's good. And that's a full salvo against the destroyer, but it all missed. We reload once again. The destroyer's got himself stuck. We score a good hit. We don't set it on fire. Notice how I'm using HE. And another good hit will knock out his steering. I've now run aground, however, and if you take a look, the water is extremely shallow here. And thankfully this is an arcade game, because I would be beached in a realistic version, and I wouldn't be able to move. Anyway, after my foolish poor sailing, I managed to get myself stuck. Very slowly, however, which gives the enemy time to maneuver around me. We take some shots at the destroyer behind that island, but the island absorbs our fire. We've lost 2 cruisers, by the way, and they have lost no ships currently. We take some shots at that destroyer, and we don't say crit. He's only on 306 health, and if any of those shots connect, he will die. Typically they do not, and I almost sail into rocks. This destroyer is wandered into our secondary range. As you can see, that's not being firing. It's 76 meters. I need to sink this guy before he can launch another set of torpedoes. We hit him for 2 and critically damage. And he goes stealth. A nice blind fire and prediction though secures the kill. This rate of fire is very impressive, and you're going to need it in order to survive. So we dealt with one of the one of the destroyers.
Reporting the position
Now
of a
we're
priority
trying to
target.
assist our
All stations
allies
requesting
to our
fire.
rear. We encounter a Kawachi, but I fire too soon and it goes straight into the island. Our reload is quick, however. I plant some fire into the rear of the ship, trying to set him on fire. We are unsuccessful. We hit him again. Another 2,000 damage. Quite good. I reload armor piercing to try and get some penetrations, but we only managed to do 13 damage with 6 shells. And now I have to sail around this island. I mean, I could turn, but I would get stuck.
Torpedoes to
If
port.
I went away. Torpedoes to port, but they are behind that island, which is safe. We try firing at that destroyer who's still on 306 health. And again, the island absorbs our fire. This time, however,
We've sunk an enemy destroyer.
he gets completely destroyed. And that is another destroyer down. 2 kills thus far. Our base is being captured, but I have to help this battleship out, because the St. Louis will set him on fire and completely ruin his day with a sustained rate of fire. So we sail as quickly as possible to try and assist. However, he's kind of put himself in between the target and my guns. Therefore, I decide to hold my fire, because the likelihood is it would go straight into his vessel and kill him. Waiting for him to get out of the way. I fire a test salvo, and we fire more at him. Unfortunately, that battleship isn't getting out of there. He's on fire and he's getting hit again and again. And he goes down. However, we can avenge him. And now we're in a slug match where our secondaries and main armament are fighting against each other. He sets me on fire. I wait on the use of the ability to extinguish the flames. And now, as I'm fighting this guy, I don't notice the guy on my right here. 2 destroyers. I decide to deal with the threat on my left first. And now I've noticed the destroyer.
Torpedoes dead
So I
ahead.
quickly turn my attention. Torpedoes have killed the St. Louis. I do an immense amount of damage to this destroyer. He does as well. I'm now on 8,000 damage. Been immobilized. We take him out. There's another destroyer on our left. We have to remove him. We hit him. We damage his torpedoes. Take him out.
Destroyer blown up.
That was pretty intense. That's 5 kills. However, torpedoes have been launched, and I cannot avoid this one.
Hull breach.
And we're now sinking.
quickly.
I cannot repair my, I cannot use my repair or damage control abilities, and therefore that destroyer has cost me helping my ally. I am on 1700 health, and I would have sunk for flooded for another minute and 15 seconds. And that is the end of my shenanigans in the St. Louis. Which unfortunately just leaves... Oh. Can we switch allies? No. It unfortunately just leaves the last Kawachi to his fate against 4 enemy vessels. And that was, unfortunately, a defeat. And so here is the post-game results. 143,000 credits, 1100 experience, plus 58 free experience on a defeat, 5 kills, top of the team on experience, base experience of 764, even better than the top player on the enemy team, which was a tier 2 destroyer, so well played to him in a tier 3 game. We did 30,000 damage of HE, we set 4.6 thousand damage of fire damage. And there is a breakdown of our experience and credits. And that is the damage we took from enemies, predominantly torpedoes. 3 torpedo hits caused 11,000 damage to us. And so there was the Tier 3 American cruiser, the St. Louis. Heavily armed, heavily armoured, but very fun to play. I hope you enjoyed the replay. I've been Geogen, this has been World of Warships, and I'll see you chaps and chapettes in the next one.